Greetings everyone, Mr. Nowicki here. I'm going to back it up a little bit with some basics about Autodesk Inventor. We're actually going to go through the exercise 1. I'm going to do this video a little differently and kind of highlight some of the things that I noticed some of the students are missing. So once we launch Inventor, again, don't worry about pinned or unpinned files. It's not always accurate if you're opening an existing file. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and start a new part. So I click my drop down right here. I click on part, and I'm going to wait for Inventor to launch a new part file. Once that's complete, a couple things you want to make sure you're checking with your Inventor screen. First off, you want a full menu. Some of you, I know when you shrink it down and you do the split screen, you can tend to lose your menu pieces, but that's when you need to resize your window accordingly so that your menu isn't shrunk down like this. So that's when you have to kind of play around with this title bar. You can click and drag it over and pull it over a little bit more so that you can see your full menu. That's pretty close to what I needed. And then you could have the image of what you're working on over here. You can even shrink this down a little bit. Well, a little bit. It might not let you, but depends on how big your model tab is. But anyways, if you need to have it this way, just look through the menus. They're there. It's just a compressed view. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start a new sketch, and I'll click my XY plane. And then I'm going to go ahead and start my lines. Now, in this assignment, we're not worried about it being on 0, 0. We don't have to worry about that. But what we are going to do is we're going to start off with the lines we know the value of. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to do a, let's see, it's 0.75. I hit enter, and then I can come down here. The next line is 2.5. I hit enter, then I come over here, and notice when you hit enter, it automatically creates the line to that dimension. And the next thing you want to pay attention to is when you drag your mouse back over. I let go of my mouse at this point once I know that I have that 90-degree angle. Okay, then I let go of my mouse. I notice a lot of students like to hold on to the mouse and try and do everything with the mouse, and that's not really how Inventor works. You've got to get used to putting in your dimensions. So now I'm going to type in 2.5 and hit enter. Then I'm going to push my mouse in the direction I need it to go. And again, it's going to be right angle, a 90-degree angle. And then I'm going to type in my dimension here, which is 0.75, enter. Now for this next part, I'm going to pull my line over again, making sure I have that 90-degree angle. But I don't know the dimension of the line that goes here or the one that goes up and down here. But what I do know is when I keep this at 90 degrees, and I'm going to pull this line out this way, if I go real slow, when it lines up with that corner, you can see some dots come from that top line down. That's when I want to click. And then I'm going to pull my mouse up. And once I see that green dot, I'm going to click to connect. Alright, so now that's the right shape. Those are the right dimensions. The other video I walked you through putting in the wrong dimensions first because I wanted you to learn how to change your dimensions if you made a mistake. So we'll just skip this and take we'll take the express version here. So I'm going to click Finish Sketch. And then the other thing a lot of students say is, mine may look smaller or bigger to lines. Don't worry about that because I'm zoomed in or out differently. It just depends on my view. Alright, so now I'm going to click to my 3D model tab, and I'm going to click extrude. And then I'm going to push, let's see, I'm going to do 2.5, and I'm going to click OK. So now that's the first part of this, this piece. So now I'm going to click another sketch. Okay, notice I only had the one sketch and then I extruded it. I don't have 5 or 6 different sketches. The other thing is you guys need to make sure you're paying attention to that because I'll get a lot of people saying, hey, I can't extrude or I can't do this. And it's because you are you have too many sketches. The other thing is, if you can't do certain tools, if you can't use them, they're grayed out, it's because you're not actually in a sketch. You might have already finished that sketch. Alright, so anyways, let's go back to, let's click Start New Sketch, and I'm going to click this surface. Now, I want to flip this, and now I'm going to put the other part that's going to connect here. So I'm going to start with, again, what do I know? Okay, so I know my first dimension is going to be here. I'm going to go straight up and down, 0.75. Then I'm going to come this way, and I'm going to type in 2.5, and I hit enter. Again, I make sure my line is straight. I have a 90-degree angle, right? And I'm going to type in 2.5, and then I'm going to come over here and type in a 0.75 and hit enter. Now, again, I have to make sure that I have my 90-degree angle here, and when I push my mouse up, there's that dotted line again. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to drag my mouse over here and click to when I get that green dot. So now, the other thing you need to pay attention to is, so the next thing to pay attention to, again, is to make sure whatever line you're in or whatever tool you're in is highlighted. So if you're trying to click on something and make this line up with this, it's not going to happen if you're in the line tool. You really need to look at where you are in Inventor. So I need to make sure I either hit escape, right, and notice escape, I hit escape and now that line is no longer highlighted. Or if I'm in the line tool and I just click over here to my coincident tool, it'll switch to that tool. Alright, so the coincident means 2 points are going to occupy the same spot. So I'm going to go over here and I move my mouse, and as soon as I get that little square, I'm going to click, and then right here when I get that little dot, I'm going to click, and so it moves this whole thing over. Okay, now I can go ahead and click Finish Sketch, and then I have to extrude this 2.5, and now notice that's the one piece. So the last part of this is the circle. So I'm going to start my sketch, I click on this surface, I grab my circle, doesn't matter where I start it, but I know it's 0.75, so I hit enter. And now that circle is the right size, however it's not centered. In order to center it, we're going to set some dimensions. Now we've already dimensioned the circle is already the correct size. What we're dimensioning here is the placement of the circle. So whenever I do that, I want to make sure I click this dot second. I have to click the other part first. So I have my dimension tool highlighted. I'm going to click the bottom line, and I let go of my mouse. I just click once, and then I push the mouse. I let go of the button, and now I click that dot, and then I'm going to pull it out to the side. Again, let go of the mouse button, and here I'm going to type in, I believe it's 0.75. We'll have it centered on the up and down. No, maybe it's actually an inch. Yep. So now I need to do the next dimension, which is this line to the center, and that's going to be 1.25. Actually, I think this one might be 1.25. Nope. Maybe it is 0.75. Either way, I don't remember the exact dimension according to the book, but either one of those works. But here it's centered. Remember, this line is 2.5 inches. Halfway would be 1.250. So now that's lined up. We can click Finish, and then we extrude. We select our circle, push it in the opposite direction, and get in the habit of doing to next. And now that is done. And that's it. You just go to your snipping tool, and then you do new, you drag a box around this, and then you can write your name with the pen, save it to your text file, and upload it. That's it.